Hi everybody, this is Gary Wilson and welcome to tonight's weekly live Path to Profit webinar, and welcome aboard to all of you who are in the Investor Agent Training Program, which is most of you, and also for those of you who are in flipping, buying rentals, managing rentals, or wholesaling. All those programs are available to everybody. As a matter of fact, no matter what program you're in, you have access to the other programs at half price, so that's a huge benefit to be a student. In any case, a couple things here. Welcome aboard to all the new folks. I started off in Fargo, North Dakota yesterday. I taught in Sioux City, Iowa today, and I'll be teaching in Des Moines tomorrow, in Davenport, Iowa on Thursday. And a little historical moment here. As of this week, I will have completed teaching at all of the Keller Williams regions in the lower 48 states, including all lower 48 states. I've also taught at other offices for other brokerages along the way. And there'll be more of that to come. But in any case, I want a big shout out to everybody, no matter where you are. And by the way, that also includes 3 of the Canadian provinces, British Columbia, Ontario, and Quebec. Okay. In fact, I'll be back in Ontario and Quebec in the month of August. And then I'll be going back to the Northeast, New Hampshire, Maine, Vermont, Massachusetts, initially through the month of September. So in any case, that's sort of my agenda coming up. But also just want to emphasize a big thank you to everybody because I've been quite busy the last couple of years. I've had a lot of fun. Spent a lot of time since this January in the mid-south and west, so basically Louisiana all the way to California and all the way up to Washington, and of course back through here. So in any case, been a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to a lot more. Lord willing, I'll be able to do this for another 25 years, so because I'm loving what I'm doing. In any case, welcome aboard to all the new folks. You'll notice that you're all on mute. It's by default. That's system mandated. I can unmute you. From time to time we actually do that, but for the most part, the way you enter your questions is on your question box, and I check those periodically throughout the webinar and answer those. It also is recorded, so if some of you are listening to that will be listening to this in recording mode because you couldn't make the webinar, and that's okay. We recognize that. We've all got families and vacations and have to do contract work and so forth. So that's why we record them. In the year's time, you're likely to miss a couple of them. Okay. A little bit of more housekeeping here. Just remember, every day after the webinars, you get the email from Beverly that gives you the recording of the webinar. It also gives you the upcoming webinar schedule, and also gives you updates to the systems and potential content updates. Okay, so all that stuff's in there. By the way, as far as the August schedule, I am going to be on vacation next week. I will be available on an emergency basis via phone, but we will not have a weekly webinar next week. I'll be back on the week after that, which is the week of August 7th. We have a webinar on Tuesday the 8th, August 8th. We have another webinar on Monday, August 14th. No webinar the week of August 21st. It's unusual that we'd have 2 weeks in 1 month and we're not having a webinar. It's just the way things worked out. I have 2 masterminds that week in different parts of the country, and just based on the time zones and everything, it just was impossible to do. But the last week we will have another scheduled webinar. I don't know exactly when, but the week of the 20th we will be scheduling another webinar. So I'll have to let you know when that's going to be. Okay. Any case, I don't think there's anything else administratively at this point to go over. You've got my schedule, and you can use Time Trade to schedule strategy calls with me. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into tonight's content. Okay, this is going to be focused on letters that go out to owners of properties. Now, what I'm going to do tonight is I'm not going to get into the how-to as far as how do you determine who the letter goes to. We just covered that recently, and for those of you who are new, if you go to the silver level membership section of the My Investment Services website and scroll down, you'll see all the recordings of all the webinars we've done, and there are a couple of them that focus on the letter. And the focus of those webinars is typically how do you determine who to send a letter to? Okay, and so you can get information from those. Tonight, what we're going to go into is the letter itself, break it down, the language patterns. Okay, we're going to compare 3 different letters. We're going to go over some scripting. So what happens when you have responses to the letters? We're going to go over the scripting on what you actually say. So that's tonight's agenda, and it probably will take us all the way through the full hour. So excellent subject tonight. And thanks, Kristen, for prompting us to bring this up. Okay, first things first. You'll see on my screen there's an envelope from a company called Meridian Trust. They're out of Denver, and they wrote it to Kristen Henry, who's one of your fellow students. She's a colleague of ours. She's an investor and an agent, and she's also learning how to do the classroom scenario. So there's lots of she's very busy. So Kristen, thanks for the envelope here and the letter. We'll go over the envelope first. First things first, you'll notice that they've typed in Kristen's name and address, and their return address is a preprint. It's basically, it could be a stamp, but I've got a feeling this letter is pre-printed. In other words, this is pretty straight and lined up, so that tells me that Meridian Trust has these envelopes printed for them with their return address pre-printed on there. Okay, so it makes it nice and straight and clean and all that. Now, nothing wrong with this at all. In fact, envelopes with this sort have a pretty high open rate. You can see Kristen actually did open it. There's the part right there where she stuck in the tool, the letter opener. Okay, it's not metered, which is important. This is a standard stamps. In other words, a person actually stamped this and put this in a mailbox, and a person actually typed this. All right, it's not a label. They actually typed this on there. Now you can there's software you can buy, where you can run these things through your printer to do that for you, which is probably what they did. But what I'm getting at here is, this is not a bad envelope, so I would never suggest that any other types of letters or any other types of envelopes don't work. Some of them work better than others, to be certain. This is an envelope that I think would work. In other words, if I received this envelope, I would probably open it, whether I knew who Meridian Trust was or not. The fact is, this looks like it's typed, not a pre-printed, it's not metered, it's not barcoded, it's none of those things. So just remember, anytime you do a mailing, one thing that's going to create a deficit for you is if you use metered mail or you use barcoded mail. In other words, the address has that barcode across the bottom here. That's a sure sign it's junk mail. Most people just look at that and toss it right away. Okay, this doesn't have metering, it doesn't have barcoding, and Kristen obviously opened it up. Now my preference would be to have this be handwritten and have the return address be unbranded. Now I say that with caution because for those of you who are in Canada, the rules on branding are very strict. There was a lot more unbranded marketing going on all over the US and Canada, by the way. And in Canada, they kind of cracked down on that. They said, no, you've got to notify, you've got to make it obvious and evident to the recipient of your mail pieces that you are a professional, in our case, professional realtor, okay? So in most states, though, it's just not required to do that on the envelope. There are exceptions. California is an exception. On California, your return address has to identify you as a realtor. At least that's my understanding, okay? Most other states, though, you can literally just put your name here and your return address. I think handwriting gets you a higher response rate. That's what we've seen in our own efforts over the last couple decades. And statistically, across multiple industries, most people will tell you handwritten name and address gets a higher open rate. And it sounds kind of obvious. I mean, it's just more personal and people are more curious, okay? Who is this person writing me this letter and handwriting my name and address, okay? But in any case, back to this, if you feel so inclined, you can certainly use envelopes that run through your printer where your computer's imprinting the name and address, and it looks like it's actually typed. So that would work, and you would get a pretty decent open rate, okay? So great envelope. I can't think of anything else to say about this, so let me open up my question box, see if Kristen has any suggestions or comments, or any of you have any suggestions or comments. So let me go back to the top here, make sure I'm current on questions. This and Fassel, awesome job. Thanks, Fassel. I appreciate that. Good to see you too, buddy. Hey, so Fassel, I'm going to be, I don't know if you were here on the beginning, I'll be pretty far north of you in September up in Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and so forth. And then in probably October, I'll be back in Pennsylvania, and we're likely going to be doing a live event in northern New Jersey. I just don't know when. I'm hoping for October, November. It's looking less likely now because of scheduling conflicts, but I'll keep you posted on that. In any case, back to this. Kristen says, yeah, pre-sorted stamp, dead giveaway. You're right that it's a mass mailing. You're exactly right. All right, now let's do this. Let's go ahead and jump into the letter that was inside this envelope. And here it is, okay? Now, right away, first thing you'll notice, your eyes are drawn to it, which is a letterhead. Drawn to that partly because of this bold line right here. It just draws you right to it, and then right away, you see Meridian Trust again. And this is Meridian Trust mailing address. Now, clearly, this is a business letter. In other words, this letter is coming to Kristen. It looks more business-oriented, and my experience has been letters like this do have people will read it. You know, in other words, it's not barcoded. It's not metered. It doesn't say, dear sir, dear friend, dear neighbor. You know, it says, dear Kristen Henry. But let's just start up at the top here. So we got the letterhead. Not a bad deal. I would never say the letterheads are a bad thing. It's just that we've noticed through a lot of experimentation that letters that do not have a letterhead have a higher response rate. So, in other words, I don't know if Kristen, you responded to this. I think you actually did because we talked about this the other night. You actually went to their event. However, on average, letters with a letterhead, more people will look at that and say, okay, I'll read this, but I'm probably not going to do anything, or maybe they won't even read it at all because of letterhead. So it's up to you. You can try letters with a letterhead. You can try the same letter without a letterhead and measure your results. It's called split testing, A/B testing. You can measure your results, okay? So in any case, Kristen is saying she did not respond to this letter. Now let's go back, and we've got some other questions here. Rolando is saying, okay, I find the off-white color of the envelope pleasing and suggestive of quality. Very good point. So if you think about the color of the paper itself and the envelope, think about resumes. Think about the resumes that all of us have created over our lifetimes. Most cases, like Rolando's saying, is they were not on plain white paper. They were on, ivory paper, cream colored, off-white, things like that. They definitely tend to get a higher favorability rate, if you will, than plain white paper in most cases, okay? So thank you, Rolando, for sharing that. Let's see here. Shireen, hi Gary, I'm sorry I'm dropping in late. Hey Shireen, no problem. Shireen, we're just getting started. We're going over a letter that one of our students has received. We're kind of doing a CSI investigation on it. Then we're going to jump into two other letters, okay? And then hopefully we'll have a little bit of time for some interaction here. So anyways, let's drop down here to the next section, which is they've made it more professional. They've listed Kristen here and her last name and her address. They have a regarding or RE or IE, 1385 Lauren Wood Way. I'm assuming Kristen owns that, okay? And the date. Not a bad deal. So in other words, if you go past this as a reader, this is going to help. It's not going to hurt. It's probably going to help because it tells you what it's about. They've addressed you in a professional manner. The first time here's the first sign of trouble I see is they've used first name and last name. Now the letter so far has been presented in a professional business-like manner. Now, when you do a letter like that, generally you're going to refer to the person by last name. You would say, Dear Miss Henry, okay? Dear Miss Henry. They've actually used both names. Now, if it was me personally, I would always use the first name. In fact, in the letter that I use, I only use first name, with one exception. Medical doctors. Medical doctors generally prefer, as a group, and this is a generalization, but we've noticed this amongst almost all of them, doctors prefer to be referred to as doctor right, and their last name. So if Kristen was a doctor, she would prefer to be referred to as Dr. Henry, okay? Yeah, that's just one of the things we noticed. Most other cases, though, you can say first name. So let's do a quick check here and see where we are on questions. Hang on one second. Okay, this is Fassel. Fassel says, okay, so tan color gets better hits. Yeah, so Fassel, if you're using a letter that's more business oriented like this with a heading, letterhead, and everything's typed, and you do this right here where you reference the person by name and address, generally speaking, an off-white color will get you a better response rate. And I'm going to come back to that subject here in another letter. So we're going to talk about when do you use just plain vanilla, plain white paper, okay? Okay, let's see. Next is John Barnes. Hey, John. How do you feel about the barcode next to Kristen's name on the letter? Yeah, I don't know why they did that. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's in their software, and they, what this is, it usually is, it gives Kristen the opportunity to take a picture of this, and she can respond to it like that. In some cases, though, they have, the people sending out the letter, you just put a barcode there for, sometimes it's fake, sometimes it's real, like each person will have its own little imprint. I personally, John, I don't like that or anything like it at all, okay? I don't think it has any value. In fact, if you notice, I skipped right past it because it basically didn't do anything for me. In fact, it caught your eye and you question it. So my preference would be to not put this in there unless it has some meaningful purpose, okay? And down below, I would say, dear Kristen, quick responses, you just, take a picture of this QR code and hit enter, and we'll get you into our system, something like that. If there's a reason for it, yeah, I can possibly see that, but right now I actually don't see any reason for it. So thanks, John, for bringing that up and asking that question. Yeah, QR code, that's right. So it's a QR code. Okay, now let's get into the actual body of the letter. Okay, so dear Kristen Henry, if you're interested in immediate cash, bold print, capital letters for this or any other property you now own, this letter may be important to you, okay? Now, right away, I want, if you guys could type in your initial impression, just say, Gary, thumbs up, thumbs down. That you can tell me in words, you can say, that got my attention, or nope, that made it look like just good old-fashioned junk mail, and I won't go any further. So let me know some of your impressions. I'll be interested to see. Yeah, a lot of you are saying, yeah, Zach, seems like bait. Kristen, warning, warning. Jeff says, nope. So you're exactly right. I generally don't, I don't put these kind of things in my letters. Yeah, Mark, you're right. It looks like a sales pitch. It comes off as right away. Also, if you notice, they didn't indent the first sentence. They didn't indent the paragraph. I usually, generally, always do that. I'm not perfect. So some letters will have it, some letters don't, but I prefer to have it indented. It makes it more personal. And I would not start off the sentence like that. What I would do is this. They mentioned the property up here. I would mention the property here and say, if you're interested in getting cash for the sale of this property at, let me go back up here just 1 second. Oops, sorry. At 1385 Laurelwood Way. Now that would do a better job, but I would not say at this property or any other property. Right now, they're all of a sudden they're casting a wide net. Okay. All right. Next sentence. Meridian Trust is a professional financial investment company based in Colorado. We are interested in purchasing your property, and we are committed to offer you the best possible price with an immediate closing date. This means we are willing to purchase your property in an as-is condition. Now, this could actually be very appealing. They actually give you a number. By the way, depending on how you're doing your business, local numbers generally get better responses, okay? This just makes it look like it's a big company and they're just trying to cast a wide net here. However, there may be recipients who are in need of cash and who are in need of a quick sale, and they certainly have no interest in doing anything at all to the property. So this could work in certain situations. The question I would start to have now as a marketer is, how are they determining their recipients? Are they just simply doing mass mailings? I mean, I know people personally that do this. and they were literally send out, I mean, 10, 12, 15,000 letters a month, and they'll get responses. But quite frankly, guys, I mean, that's a lot of work and a lot of expense, and a lot of the responses are just going to be the looky-loos, the curious, what's this about? The types of responses we want are predefined, they almost pre-screen themselves, and they respond to us just because we've given them specific information and made a specific offer. Okay, so let's continue on here. Okay, next one. Meridian Trust is in the business of buying and selling houses and multiple house packages. We rehab, resell, and rent properties. The sole purpose of this letter is to announce our interest in making a cash purchase of your property. Well, let me see what you think about that statement, because I know what I think about that statement. Yeah, not really. Okay, if I needed immediate cash, it would catch my eye. That's a good response, Chris. Let's see. Indent is old school. Laugh out loud. So Kristen's a techie person like me, by the way. So, okay, this or any other property you own fishing. That's right, they're fishing. Seems suspect. My first thought is that the cash offer wouldn't be at fair market value. Okay. Kristen says these are probably wholesalers. Yeah. Well, with this statement here, here's the deal. They said the sole purpose of this letter is to announce our interest in making a cash purchase of your property. My first thought was, how do they know that? I haven't let anybody in my property. How do they know they want to buy my property without actually checking it out? I mean, maybe they did a drive-by, but that's just gives them the skin. They haven't seen the interior. So right away, this would be another alert to me that they're just, they're not speaking to me specifically. I'm now getting the feeling this letter has gone out to many people. Okay. And, right away, that would probably be the second and final straw for me, but let's continue first. Let me go back to some comments and see what we've got here, because everybody's very active tonight, which is great. Let's see here. Okay, so next comment is Mark. Okay, I would only sell my house for cash from the bank. Yeah, there's a good one. Okay, right. Ryan saying they are announcing interest. Yep, okay. Ryan says it's strange. Okay, Kristen says if the price is low enough, they will pay it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, everybody's got his or her price, okay? This owners have the number they want, the buyers have the number they want, and of course the win-win is when everybody comes together, end up with a happy compromise. But chances are these people are looking to, they're looking for the people who are desperate, the people that need to sell right away, first hint, people that need to sell as is, second hint, okay? And people that need cash like right now. So probably none of us are in any of those situations. However, there are people out there who are. The challenge is you're trying to cast a wide net to find that occasional person who's desperate, okay? All right, so Brian, okay, may come from open door. Yeah. Okay, so let's go back here. Let's go to the next sentence. Okay, we will pay all customary closing costs associated with the purchase, and we can close in less than 10 days if necessary. In addition, there will be no real estate commissions associated with the purchase of your property. Okay, so what you're trying to do now is you're trying to appeal to people's, most people want to, keep expenses down as much as possible. And if you ever sold a home before, you recognize, yeah, I had to pay a commission. I had to pay out of my sale proceeds, whatever it was, 5, 6, 7%, okay? Also, the buyer's paying closing costs, which saves us some additional money, and they can close quickly, tying into the urgency factor here. So again, this will work with people who are somewhat desperate and need to sell quickly. They don't have any money to bring to the table, so these folks will pay closing costs. So it looks appealing. So that statement, if I got past this third paragraph here, this would appeal to me, okay? Because they're basically eliminating all obstacles and all objections. Okay, I can sell fast. I don't have to pay a commission. I don't have to pay any closing costs. I don't have to do anything to the property, and I can get all cash. They might appeal to 1% of 1% of the population, but that's what they're banking on. Their game plan is casting a wide net and looking for the occasional little guppy in there, okay? The challenge with casting a wide net is, assuming you're looking for, we'll use guppy incorrectly. Let's say a trout. You're looking for a trout. Yes, you might get a trout, but you're going to get a whole lot of other stuff along the way. Old shoes, old tires, toilet lids, and a lot of other things scrounging around the bottom of the ocean, like crabs and things like that, all for getting one little trout. So this was kind of starting to I'm starting to turn against this. However, let's read the last sentence, okay? We maintain the highest professional standards in the course of our dealings, and thank you for considering this opportunity. Okay, that sounds good, but anybody who's in business, I'm going to assume anybody I deal with is operating with the highest level of professional standards, all right? If somebody has to actually point that out to me, I'm wondering, why are they pointing it out? Have they been in trouble in the past? Did somebody else file a complaint? Are they afraid I've heard about them and they've got to basically impress me? They say that they operate with high professional standards. That's my impression. So tell me what your impressions are, and then we'll kind of wrap this one up here. So let's go back to the questions. Let's see. This is from Melinda. Hi, Melinda. Okay, Melinda is asking or stating, okay, all right, no real estate commissions, no real estate professionals involved. You get what you pay for, or skate by for here. Yep. This is the we buy ugly houses concept. Yeah, that's exactly right. As far as us, most of us are agents on the phone here. Some of us are just investors, but the reality is, consumers that we like to work with are generally going to be thinking that. They're going to think, okay, wait a second, you get what you pay for. If I'm eliminating all these professionals, these guys are paying closing costs, which means they're probably choosing the closing company who's now representing them and not representing me, okay? I'm definitely going to, at a minimum, be cautious, if not tread very lightly, okay? All right, so this is for Mio. Hi, Mio. How things out in your neck of the woods? I'm a little confused. Who is sending this letter? Yeah, no, Mio, I think you came in late. So this is a letter one of our fellow students received. Kristen received this, and what we're doing is we're breaking this down and seeing why did Kristen not respond to it, and maybe there's some good things. There's some things in there maybe we can use, but keep in mind this is a great little exercise in what our recipients, our consumers, are going through when they get these letters and receive them. Okay. Let's see. Roger says, agreed. Hey, Roger, how you doing, buddy? So, Roger, I don't know if you caught that when I was telling Fassel. I'm going to be up in the New England area in the fall, working my way down from New Hampshire, Maine, Massachusetts, down back into Pennsylvania. So hopefully I can stop in and see you guys. Maybe we can, the three of us, get together and grab a bite to eat. Okay, let's see. Miho says, I'm not commissioned. How do we get paid? Yeah, so Miho, you're not using this letter. This is, we're bringing this up as an example of what other people are using out in the marketplace, trying to find the occasional desperate person. Let's see. John says, okay, some experts say that saying thank you removes the power position. Let's see. Where is are they saying thank you here? Oh, there is. Yeah, we thank you for considering this opportunity. Yeah, my personal opinion is this: I like to say thank you. It's just a habit of mine, Mark. But you certainly don't have to do that. You can just finish it off by saying this, most sincerely. Okay. But let me go back here because I think I saw a few more questions coming in. Let's see, Jeff. Okay, this one would go in the file 86 after the first two paragraphs. Yeah. Thanks, Jeff, for sharing that. Yeah, I when I got to this right here, second paragraph, that's where I probably would have lost me. The third one wasn't too bad, but the fourth one definitely would have been a nail in the coffin. But for me too, Jeff, I'm sorry. The second paragraph is where I kind of raise, okay, that's 2 knocks. I'm not going to go any further. But let's just finish this up. Real big problem down here. They didn't make an offer. What they said was, we invite you to call anytime. They just transferred control completely to the recipient with no recourse at all. There's no reason for anybody to call them unless they just happen to impress them with this letter. So always remember this, guys. No matter what you do, you always want to end up any direct mail by making an offer. Don't ask for business. Don't say, hey, I'd like to list your property for sale. In fact, I would never even say up here, I want to buy your property. That's not realistic because I never saw the property. So make an offer. Say, look, I will give you a free inspection. I will give you a free market analysis. Heck, I may be interested in buying this for myself personally. I don't know. I may be interested in providing it to my clients who are looking for a property like yours. Either way is, let's get you a free analysis. Okay, so make an offer. Always make an offer. Okay, and then they sign it most sincerely with a. This looks like a digital signature, but digital signatures do work. I will tell you this, I actually hand signed every letter ever went out from my desk. I hand signed every single one. And I do suggest you do that, okay? By the way, they should also put their address on here. They didn't do that. So put their address, name, address, signature, and that's pretty much it for that letter. So let's do a quick check here, and we'll go on to the next letter, okay? Miho is, actually, let me make sure I didn't pass anybody here. Hang on one second. Mark's saying, yeah, showing gratitude goes a long way. Thank you, Mark, for saying that. Okay, so this is from Michael. Michael Watkins. Hey, Michael. All right, Michael, it feels like it gets more and more shady feeling as it goes down the page. As soon as they say no real estate people involved, that would make me back up and put on the brakes right away. Yeah, I agree. All right, this is from Jackie. Hey, Jackie. Do you have this type of letter in your library for us to send out to people? No, not this one. I don't. This is a letter that Kristen received, Jackie. So we don't use letters like this. I'm going to show you another one that we used years before. I'm going to show you that one next, and then we'll show you the current version that we use. Let's see, Miho. Okay, I got it. I knew investors teaching how to send this kind of letter and buy with cash without agent. Haha. Yeah, they're basically casting a wide net and grasping for straws, and they're trying to be all things to all people. And the fact is, people don't like that. People like to be spoken to directly, and we want to feel like we're being addressed personally. And you should always write your letters as if you're doing that. Right? Write them as if you're addressing that person and speaking to them directly and personally, and you'll always find your response rate going up. Okay, so let's do this. We covered that letter. Now let's go on to the next letter, which I think is this. Hang on one second. Here it is. Okay. All right. So I want to go to the top here. This letter you'll recognize is actually at the bottom of the resource section of My Investment Services. You go to the silver level membership section, which all of you are by default silver level members. So go to the silver level membership section, go all the way down, even below the books, and look for resources, and you'll see this in there. This is letter to apartment owners. Okay. Now, if you notice, this one actually does have a letterhead. All right. I used to just say Win Realty Advisors because that was my independent brokerage company before I did the merger. All right. And up top here, I provide my contact information, address, phone number. This is all old information here. I mean, that email might still exist because, believe it or not, even though it's been several years, people still contact me, and I refer them out. In any case, letterhead, plain and simple, not the end of the world, but I will tell you in the next version of this, you'll see that this goes away. All right, but for the sake of the exercise, we want to go through this. All right, so letterhead's there, providing my contact information. If you notice, I did not write in here Clay Stotler's address up here. I didn't make it more of that business-oriented type letter. I just went right to Dear Clay Stotler. Now, we'll tell you this. We got responses on this, but as soon as we dropped the last name, we started getting more responses. So please write that down. You definitely want to drop the last name in your salutation, except in the case of doctors. Remember, that's the one exception I gave you earlier. In the case of doctors, they like to be referred to as doctor and their last name. Okay. Now, I think this was a weak letter by today's standards. However, I did use this a lot, and we got decent response rates on this. There were some areas, in fact, I'll just tell you, there was one neighborhood in particular, we sent this out. It was all multi-units. Every single property on that block was a multi-unit. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 unit properties, 9 unit properties. And while it took a few months of a couple of repeated mailings, literally half of the people that owned properties on that street responded. We had a 50% return call rate on this letter right here. Now, it turns out there were some reasons for that. Later on, we found out after we did our more research than we originally did. We did our research, but we went to dig a little deeper, and we found out that there was a business packing up and leaving that area, and it was going to hurt the population base, and a lot of property owners were trying to get rid of their properties in that time frame. That's what we found out. But regardless, we got a high response rate from this. So in any case, you can see here we got a lot of wording in here, probably way too much wording. And we start off by saying this: the purpose of this letter is that, and that's none of this is like a red flag. I'm just telling you, you can do much better than this. So instead of starting off a letter with the purpose of this letter is, all right, put something in there that basically speaks to them directly. I'm going to show you the final version of this letter next. I just want to show you how this whole thing evolved. Okay, all right. Now, right here, we're trying to appeal to their emotions, with the numerous obstacles that come with owning apartment buildings, et cetera, et cetera. Every owner eventually comes to the realization that the easier way would make money would be to possibly sell. Okay, we can help you manage your properties. We can help you sell your properties. All this stuff is probably, we have multiple solutions, right? At the time, I had multiple businesses all related to real estate, and I could offer multiple services, right? In any case, second paragraph is, we got to talk about ourselves. So the principles that Win Realty Advisors, me, and I had several colleagues who were also investors, and some of them were commercial guys. We banded together to do joint ventures and things like that. First and foremost are real estate investors, which is absolutely true, okay? We've been doing business, helping our clients for a long time, 25 years, et cetera, et cetera. Now that's way past that. That'll give you an idea how young I am, okay? We can help with new acquisitions, disposition of existing properties, as well as managing and leasing services. So what's happening here, guys, is we're starting to bog down in the quicksand. I mean, if I'm reading this, I don't even know if I'm going to get all the way through it because it's just too much. I mean, it sounds great. I mean, this person's, if I'm reading this, I'm thinking, okay, this guy's got a lot of services. That's great. What's in it for me? This is what I'm starting to think here, right? Now, one of the reasons people responded to us is we do have an extensive network of national and international investors, right, actively looking to invest, which is true. And we could demonstrate that. In fact, all of you are going to be benefiting from all that here in the next several months as I go overseas. In any case, we were always very creative. We could help people come up with multiple strategies. So some of this stuff is what got people's attention. The challenge is we started talking about ourselves, all right, and then we get into what we have available for them, and then we get into, okay, these people know what they're doing. So even though it's long and lengthy, it did work. I'm just telling you, the shorter we made this, the higher the response rate went. These are things we can tell people once we have them in an interview, all right? So in any case, third paragraph. So even if you ever consider selling this property or other properties, or have wondered if there's a better way for you to be invested in real estate, please call us, okay? For initial conversation, we'll discuss your needs and goals and help you determine if there is a mutually beneficial arrangement that helps each of us achieve our goals. We look forward to hearing from you. Big mistake. We just gave up control there at the end. We said, hey, if you are interested, just give us a call. Yeah, that's a load of crap, guys. You got to make an offer. You have to always make an offer. So let me bring the panel over and see what kind of responses you guys have. Now, don't worry about my feelings, okay? You can use this letter. It's available to you. We stopped using it years ago, but it does work. So I don't want you to worry about my feelings. Just tell me what you think of this letter, okay? Now, nobody's saying anything, probably because you know that it was my letter. But don't worry. I hope I did a good enough job of showing you what this letter used to look like and some potential problems. Number one is the first sentence, we should go right to the point. we're writing to you about your property. Okay, we got their attention. We should talk less about ourselves, all right? And at the end, we should make an offer. Those are the three big issues with this letter that I see now. Let's see. Yeah, Mark says too long. I agree. Melinda says people have a 7-second attention span is too long. Absolutely, way too long. Kristen says it is a whole bunch of print on the page. Yeah, it's not very pretty, excuse me. So let's do this now. Let's go to the good stuff, okay? And that is down here. Let's see. And here we go, all right? Here is the new format. So I had a couple questions come in, so hang on one second. Let's see, that was Kristen's comment. Shireen, okay. Would it appear simpler and less wordy if you made the letter with basic bullet points? Actually, Shireen, that's an excellent suggestion. And yes, that would work. When you break things up into bullet points, that does help the readability. So good point. Roger says, that's the winner. Here it is, man. So here's the letter, guys, that everybody's been using. And if you know who Judith Johnson is, she lives up above Lake Pontchartrain, north of New Orleans. She used this letter in May, and I got 2 immediate responses. I mean, and we've had, I can't remember the student's name. Boy, I wish it wasn't drawing a blank here. First use of the letter, first batch of the letter, got 4 listings in the very first month. We're getting some pretty powerful results from this. Let me, real quick, I got a question here, so hang on a second, guys. This is Brian. Brian says, okay, true, people can always Google your business later. Absolutely, yeah. So don't talk about yourself. People can check you out online now. Okay, current version. Here we go. If you notice right up top, what's missing from the top here? There's something that's not in this letter that you're used to seeing in other letters. If you want to type it in, letterhead, bingo, no letterhead. Get rid of the letterhead, response rate goes up, okay? Now, right away, if you notice salutation, name specific, and first name only, okay? Right away, first sentence, we get right to the point. I'm writing to about your property located at, we get very specific. Now, I can tell you, I received this letter years ago as a recipient, okay? And that first sentence, the fact that they named me personally, first name, and that first sentence, they named one of my properties, it got my attention right away, okay? I also like the fact that it was short. I'm thinking, my gosh, this is really short. What's the heck is this about? And it worked, okay? So let me go back, and we got a couple of questions here. Hang on one second. Miho says, yeah, I like it, it's short. Absolutely. The shorter the better. The shorter we made it, the higher the response rate went up. Yeah, no address, no date, nothing like that, okay? All right, and you've all seen this letter because I actually go over this in the classrooms. So next sentence, I'm not suggesting you sell your property if you don't want to. Now, obviously, I'm suggesting they sell the property. That's the whole crux of that statement. But there's one more part of this statement that really makes it a very powerful language pattern. That is, when we start something off in the negative, I'm not, this is not, she's not, he's not, excuse me. The human brain is wired, I know Mark knows this, so Mark, as soon as we start something off in a negative, what is the human brain wired to go and do? So if you want to type in the answer there, I'll look for that response. If you got a second, Mark, yeah, that's it. We start in the negative. The brain is, okay, if it's not that, then what is it? We in marketing, we call it if not, then what? If not, then what? Okay, if it's not that, then what is this? We basically, we captivate we capitalize on the fact that we had their attention with the first sentence, that we had their attention with the first sentence. We're going to position and they have to read what's next. Okay, if it's not that, then what's this about? We'll give them a statement of fact first, once we got that to that position. However, inventory is tight right now. And in terms of supply and demand, obviously that means, hey, I've got some properties, maybe I can make some money. It creates intrigue, okay? And then we continue that. It's a run-on sentence. We continue it with the power statement. And I have clients like Mr. Metajasic who want to buy a 4-unit building just like yours in your area. Clients is plural. And yes, we actually do name one of our real, genuine clients. Last name only, one client only, and always get their permission first, okay? So that power statement is very powerful. It says, buy a 4-unit building just like yours. We name the type of property just like yours in your area. And more importantly, we actually name somebody specifically. We don't just say we've got clients, we actually name one. And man, does it work. It takes guts, but boy, does it work. So let's do a quick pause here on where we are. Okay, this is for Mark. Mark is saying, okay, you're also letting them feel as if they are in control if you don't want to. That's exactly right. Yep. So these language patterns here, guys, they're some of the best. I mean, I wish I could claim credit for the letter, but I can't. I can just tell you now that I've studied a lot of marketing and language patterns and NLP and things like that. It's no wonder this thing gets the results it gets. So in any case, we got them right where we want them to make our offer, but before we do that, we're going to soften them up by saying this. That's why I specifically sought you out, okay? And this is literally hitting right between the eyes. We're telling them, multiple people get the letter, but each one is definitely name specific and property specific, okay? That we want them to feel special is the point. So that we make our offer, we have a much higher response rate. Now, think about it. We're not asking for business. We're going to make an offer, okay? Which is this. Even if you're just curious, okay? You're just curious, right? There's no strings attached. Nobody's going to come take your money. But if you're curious about what your property would sell for, which they probably are, because we told them we have people interested in their property and the inventory is tight, okay? Please call, text, or email, all right? And I'll be glad to give you a free property valuation. That's an offer. That's an offer you can make all day long, and it works, okay? And then you tell them all my contact information is provided below. You don't bore them with any details. You don't say anything at all about the nature of the property because you haven't seen it yet, all right? Although you can get information online. You don't tell them about yourself. You don't do any of that kind of stuff, all right? Down here is where we do our, not a full-blown disclosure, but we disclose, in my case, that I am a realtor, okay? Gary Wilson, Win Realty Advisors, Win Realty Team. I got realty in there twice, helping the world build wealth and income with real estate. And the address, contact information. There's no way they can't get a hold of me. They can literally right there on the spot, pick up the phone and call, email me, text me, whatever they want to do, all right? Now at the end, I have a little thing here I just wanted to point out to you. Many of you have asked me about this. It's called a tagline. Okay, it's sort of like a sub-brand. If you think about a lot of other industries, other products in other industries, they often will do something like this, particularly if they're in the service business, okay? Now this one's a little bit lengthy, but it works. It's this. We instruct, inform, and assist our clients and advisors in building wealth and income through real estate with their homes and investment properties guaranteed. Now, what did I guarantee? Well, I guaranteed that we instruct, inform, and assist our clients and advisors in building wealth and income through real estate with their homes and investment properties, okay? So that's what I guaranteed. I didn't say anything specific, but people like the word guarantee. And a lot of people respond to this: instruct, inform, and assist, okay? In other words, it's about you. It's not about us, it's about you, all right? And we say clients and advisors. In other words, if you're looking for a job, this is going to catch your attention. You assist your advisors in doing this too? Well, heck yeah. Everybody that works with me, I help everybody figure out how to build wealth and income in real estate. If you ask Beverly and Jody, for example, I'm just going off the record here, they'll tell you, I give them everything, okay? I share with them freely, openly. They have access to everything that I've ever written, and they can call me anytime, night or day, okay? So in any case, if you might guess, I'm pretty passionate about that, and I am. But if you have something like that, guys, put it in there. Put it at the bottom. You can clone mine if you want and kind of word it for yourself to be speak more from you, but definitely do that. And again, so let me get back to the questions here and make sure we're all caught up. Let's see. Okay, this is from Melinda. All right, Melinda is saying, okay, on multi-unit properties, owners or LLCs and partnerships, I use Dear Manager of blah blah. Hang on one second. Dear Manager of blah blah LLC. I didn't have names. Would you suggest Google the LLC or Corp and get the, yeah. So Melinda, what you can do is every state has what's called a Bureau of Incorporation. They might call it something different, like your State Incorporation Bureau, Bureau of Incorporation, or some variation of that. What you can do, Melinda, is go in there, and you might have to hunt and pick a little bit, but you can type in the name of the LLC, and they will give you the person that registered the LLC. And most states actually give you the address, okay? So, and the chances are you've already got the address from your tax records, but in this case, you can get an actual name. I would definitely go as far as doing that. I would definitely go as far as doing that, okay? So good question, Melinda. All right, this is from Chris. Hi, Chris. Chris is asking, if I talk to homeowners in our area that are totally over the home value offer, they see them in Facebook, AdWords, and in and in mailers, and are kind of over it. What other suggestion for offer? Well, for one thing, Chris, in this letter, if you think about it, this isn't like on a postcard. It's not like a broadcast mailer. We don't have a letterhead. It's very perfect. Essentially, you have to be careful what you offer. Now, evaluation is something that's valuable, okay, and it's also something that you can do it for free for them. It does take a little bit of your time. Do here is appeal to their curiosity, okay? You told them inventory is tight. You told them you got people interested in properties just like yours, and you've actually used the word curious, okay? If you're just curious, just let me know. We'll give you a free evaluation. Yeah, everybody does that. The only thing is if you get into offering gifts and things like that, you're really treading on going into a gray area. You know, and by the way, I never did like things like, you know, I'll give you a restaurant gift certificate for buy one get one free meals. That is a marketing campaign we do use, but we don't make that offer in the letter. You can try things like that, but it's gonna make you look well, cheesy, you know. You could do this. You could say, look, I can get you a free inspection on your property. Don't say free home inspection, just say free inspection. You could offer that. I think, was that Chris? Yeah, Chris. So Chris, you could offer a free inspection, and here's how this works. When I work with buyers, unlike a lot of other gurus who say, hey, you don't need to get an inspection, I think that's very dangerous, okay? I definitely do inspections. And I encourage my students and my clients, my investors to do inspections. Well, the inspector is going to be working for the buyer, all right? And so what I'm doing is I say, look, you know, we'll have an inspector come in here, and I'm going to give you a complete full copy of the report, all right? You don't have to say all that in the letter. Just say, if you don't want to offer a free home evaluation, say, how about a free property inspection? Don't say home inspection, just say free property inspection or free inspection. So that's one alternative, Chris, you can use, all right? And we have done that, and it does work. Okay, Melinda, okay, I sent an example of my letter I sent last week to your email. I would love your critique. Melinda, if you could do me a favor, please resend that, because I don't recall seeing it, and I apologize. If you can resend it, I'll look at that between tonight and tomorrow night, okay? Okay, Kristen, let's see, Kristen says, I need a sign across disclaimer. Yeah, so Kristen, that was the next thing I was going to bring up. If you notice in this letter here, I don't have the disclaimer. And what she's talking about is, when I used to send this letter out, I would purposely send it only to people who were not on the MLS system, not actively listed or pending under contract, that is. Okay? Now, if you were to send this letter out and you don't want to go through that effort, it doesn't take that long. You just simply, you can type the address into your MLS system. You could put the disclaimer in there that says this, right below here, right above this, you can say, if this letter is not intended to be a solicitation of your business, if your property is actively listed for sale or under management from another real estate company. You know, you can get the wording from your broker, but essentially that's what you want to say. That protects you in the case that a recipient of your letter happens to have the property listed for sale, okay? So thank you for Kristen for bringing it up, because that was the next thing we were going to go over. Let me see, let me go down. Brian, okay. Would you use the same letter on single-family home pitches? Yes, I would. So Brian, when I use this letter for single-family homes, though, I'm looking generally for flip properties. Okay, so I'm going to be very highly selective on who I send a letter to. And if you go to the website, you'll hear a couple of recordings on how to actually determine that. We use public records, for example. We isolate people based on court records is essentially what we do. Let's see. Whoops, hang on 1 second. I think I just passed somebody. Melinda says thanks. Oh, you're welcome, Melinda. You're very welcome, actually. Okay, hi Gary. This is from Natasha. I had a conversation earlier today with a new investor. He suggested I use his LLC's name versus his name in the letter. What are your thoughts? So Natasha, I just based on my experience, I actually had better responses using the name instead of saying, dear principals of ABC LLC or dear ABC LLC. It's just not personal. I've found that when you make it personal, the response rates go up. Because she says, would you reduce my rate of, yeah, so in my experience, that would reduce your rate of response. Natasha, good question, by the way. Okay, guys, we're running on here, and what I want to do is this. Let's continue this discussion. Is that next week? No, not next week. I'm sorry, I'm on vacation. The week after. And I want to go over some scripting you can use relative to this letter. And what happens, we're going to go, and I want to do some role playing, okay? So remember, 2 weeks, not next week, but the week after. That's going to be Tuesday, August 8th. I want you guys to come prepared with some objections to the letter, okay? We're going to do some role playing and some scripting, because over the years, I think we've used thousands and thousands of these letters. We've got a lot of scripts, okay? But real quick, we've got some additional questions here. Okay, this is from Devin. Hey, Devin. Devin says, commercial question. Best practice for LLC, other organizations when there is no first or last names given. Research the LLC for names. Yeah, so Devin, you can go to your State Bureau of Incorporation, plug in the LLC name, and they will give you the person who registered the LLC. There's only one word of caution there, and that is this. Sometimes companies will use a designated registrar. There's a different name for it in different states, but essentially, like if I set up an LLC in Nevada, I might not set it up myself. I might have somebody do the setup for me, and they're identified as a registrar. If you go on and do Google the LLC name in Nevada Bureau of Incorporation, you'll see that person's name and not my name. So just bear in mind that is one possibility, but essentially, as long as you send it to the address, you're still going to get a response, okay? So excellent question there, guys. Jackie, okay, at our office, they require any letters sent out to be approved by the broker. Yeah, so Jackie, I can't remember where you are, but I will tell you this. If you're in California, you have to provide also your broker ID down here, basically your license ID. And on the envelope, outside the envelope, you've also got to identify yourself as a realtor there too. So that's in California. So always check these run these by your broker. This is not what we call unbranded. Unbranded is, I wouldn't even put this down here. Like I would just say Gary Wilson, blah, blah, blah. You always have to have it branded somewhere. In most states, that occurs only on the contents of the envelope. In this case, is the letter. So this is where I've told them I'm a realtor, right? So that satisfies that requirement. Okay, let's see here. Jackie, do we have to get our broker's approval? It's really up to your ownership group. I mean, most cases, they're not really. Some of them are very picky, some of them aren't. They just want you to get some transactions going. And I can tell you, we've used this letter tens of thousands of times in multiple states and MLS systems and regions. And the only time we had to really modify it is for California and up in Canada, okay, where we had this was considered not branded enough. We had to, you have to use your broker's ID again in California. You got to name your broker on the envelope, ABC Realty, that kind of thing. So, but this letter does work, Jack. You can use it just the way it is, all right? Let's see. New Jersey. Oh, I know where you are, Jackie. Okay. I think you're okay in New Jersey. If I'm not mistaken, Jackie, are you down by the Atlantic City? Um, that was a great class, by the way. Plus, I got to go to the beach the day after that. Um, Atlantic, no, what Atlantic City? What was Ocean City, New Jersey? Wonderful beach. You're in North Jersey. Okay, yeah. So Jackie, you're probably okay where you are. Um, you know, if you want to email me separately, um, chances are I know you're team leader or your OP, but I would say for the most part in New Jersey, you can use this letter. Just always make sure you mention down here in your signature your company name and your address and contact information. This is where you're actually telling them you're a realtor, okay? So in any case, those are my thoughts on that. Let's see, another from Natasha. Okay, can Mr. Metajasic's name be replaced with the LLC name? You can do that, Natasha, but I would make it a personal name, last name only, because it's more personal. You get a more favorable response. Question, guys. Hey, good session tonight. We got in a lot. I'm glad we got as far as we did, and we had a lot of interactions. That's what I love to see. Something urgently, just please call me or text me. Otherwise, I'll see you all the following week, and God bless you all and your families, and a wonderful, wonderful week and weekend coming up. Okay, bye-bye.